They tried to silence him. They erased his name. But he rebuilt from nothing. He fought every algorithm. They tried again and failed. Now he's back, stronger. From blackout to spotlight, he's at the White House, at the top of his game. Franchi lives.
You are about to enter another dimension, the dimension of truth, unfiltered and uncensored. Welcome to the Raw Feed with Gary Franchi.
Welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you live from the heart of America. Unfiltered truth to millions on YouTube. Hit those donation links below. Every contribution powers our gear. Every contribution keeps the party going. Help me help you. Hit those donation links. YouTube channel memberships. Special acknowledgement in the fellowship. Your super chats keep me standing. Your Rumble rants fuel every round.
Say hello to super chats.
Spread the intel. Every repost extends our reach.
Super chats fuel this spectacle. Your Rumble rants give me strength.
24/7 members-only community, behind-the-scenes discussions.
Connect with fellow patriots.
My mama always said, life is like sharing the truth. Text this stream to your friends. What if I told you the app is real? Download the Next News Network app. Android users, take the Google Play path. iPhone users, App Store awaits.
Good evening, America. I'm Gary Franchi, and this is the Raw Feed. And tonight, the walls are closing in, not on the people they told you to fear, but on the people who built those walls in the first place. And if what Tucker Carlson just revealed is true, everything could change before this show is over. Carlson reported that a member of Congress told him lawmakers were briefed yesterday that a war is coming, and that President Trump may announce it during a 9 p.m. Eastern Oval Office address tonight. We don't know the final decision, but if it's true, this is massive, and we will be monitoring it. Now, on this day in 1777, something happened that could change the world forever. France officially recognized the United States as an independent nation. Think about that. The most powerful monarchy in Europe looked at a ragtag colonial army that had just defeated the British at Saratoga and said, "This is real. This is legitimate. The old order cannot pretend this away anymore." Now, that recognition didn't come because diplomats asked nicely. It came because the facts on the ground became undeniable. The lies stopped working. The establishment had to face what it had been trying to ignore. 248 years later, we're watching the same pattern unfold, only this time it's the American establishment being forced to confront its own collapsing credibility. In Atlanta today, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis detonated before a Georgia Senate committee. She repeated debunked claims about January 6th. She refused to answer questions about millions of taxpayer dollars funneled to her former lover, Nathan Wade. When confronted with documents, she erupted. Her own lawyer called the investigation a witch hunt. The irony writes itself. In Washington, former Special Counsel Jack Smith sat for closed-door testimony before the House Judiciary Committee. $50 million, armed raids, gag orders, allegations of planted evidence, and lies to the court about probable cause. And the American people paid for it all, and now they're demanding answers. And at the Pentagon, investigators are escalating their probe into Arizona Democrat Senator Mark Kelly after he told U.S. service members they can refuse orders from President Trump. Veterans are calling it sedition. A Democrat NGO is running billboards telling troops to disobey the commander-in-chief. This is color revolution tactics aimed at fracturing the military from within. And in Minnesota, Representative Ilhan Omar was caught fabricating a story about her son being pulled over by ICE. Yes, the tears flew. The Department of Homeland Security said it never even happened. They called her accusation shameful. Meanwhile, Governor Tim Walz faces federal demands to resign over massive education fraud. Yes, it just keeps getting worse. Education fraud involving ghost students. State lawmakers are allegedly running resistance networks to help illegal immigrants evade federal agents. And President Trump just won another legal battle. A federal judge refused to halt the construction of the privately funded White House Ballroom. The National Trust for Historic Preservation tried to block it. They failed. The lawfare machine hit another brick wall. And just like France recognized America in 1777 because the facts became undeniable, tonight we're watching institutions crack under the weight of their own deceptions. Fani Willis can't explain where the money went. Jack Smith can't hide behind closed doors forever. Mark Kelly can't pretend telling troops to defy the president is normal. Ilhan Omar can't lie about ICE and expect no one to check. And the activist groups trying to stop Trump from building the White House just lost again. Yes, the old order is fracturing. The lies are collapsing. As rumors of war swirl through Washington, the Raw Feed is bringing you every single moment. December 17th, the day France told the world that America was real. Tonight, America is telling its own corrupt institutions the same thing. Your time is up. So let's get into it and welcome you to the show. I'm seeing this here. We got some super chats right out the gate. Great to see everybody here. Chris Orr dropped a $20 bill right out the gate. Merry Christmas. God bless President Trump and the USA. Thank you so much. James Fay also $5. Hello from Cincinnati. And then Ruby just gifted, looks like 5 memberships here. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for your support. We appreciate it. And it looks like Janelle OFS just became a member as well. Welcome to the family. Who else is here? We got Kim and Scooby and T-Duff and Roger. Sure you! And Dasa and Jim Sari, Vicky, Cindy, Mrs. Pothead Kenny. We got 2 doggies, F&A Ranger. I got it right this time. Sam Frederick, Bill's Rules. Everybody is filing into the show tonight. Well, we got some big news we need to get to right out the gate here. So let's just get right into it, shall we? Because the news just can't wait any longer. A prosecutor who spent years hunting the president just exploded on live television. Fani Willis walked into a Georgia Senate hearing expecting softballs, and what she got was a document dump, pointed questions about secret payments, and a confrontation so heated she started screaming at lawmakers. But that's not even the biggest story. While Willis was melting down in Atlanta, whispers out of Washington suggest something far more serious may be coming tonight. And if the rumors are true, everything changes. So here's what's at stake. You see, Fani Willis spent millions of taxpayer dollars prosecuting President Trump, millions. And when Georgia senators asked her to account for that money, specifically payments to special prosecutor Nathan Wade, the man she was romantically involved with, she refused. She deflected and she erupted. At one point, she shouted that the question was illegitimate. She told lawmakers the money spent couldn't have been enough. That's your money she's talking about. This isn't just about one prosecutor in Georgia. This is about whether elected officials can weaponize the justice system, refuse accountability, and then attack anyone who questions. If Willis walks away from this untouched, the message is clear. There are no consequences for political prosecutions. Meanwhile, of course, the stakes just went global. Tucker Carlson revealed that members of Congress were briefed yesterday that war may be coming and that President Trump could announce it at any minute. And as we wrap up 2025, it is a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing we've learned, it's that uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. And for over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. You see, nobody knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing is for sure, in an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. When you're sitting around the table this Christmas, surrounded by family, remember the best gift you can give is not under the tree, it's peace of mind. And that's what Noble Gold delivers, peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. So before the year ends, take one smart step towards a safer future. Visit nextnewsgold.com. Get your free wealth protection kit today. It's nextnewsgold.com. Don't leave your future to chance. If you want one of these are going, the silver price right now is hot. It's over $60. If you call that number, 877-646-5347, they'll give you 10 of these if you qualify. So find out if you can. Now, let's get into this because it gets worse. Willis didn't just dodge questions about money. She repeated long debunked claims about January 6th, saying police officers died that day. Well, they didn't. The only person who lost their life on January 6th was Ashley Babbitt. Willis pushed the lie anyway. Senators also pressed her on alleged judge shopping, early grand jury leaks, and unexplained trips to the White House. Her own attorney called the investigation into her conduct a witch hunt. Sound familiar? And now there's this, as Willis stonewalls Georgia lawmakers. The entire nation may be hours away from learning whether American forces are headed into conflict abroad. The timing is either coincidence or convergence. This is Tucker Carlson with Judge Andrew Napolitano. This is going viral right now. We also have remarks from the president and Venezuela. So check this out.
Is Trump going to start a war in Venezuela?
I don't know. I don't know when this program airs, the one that we're on right now. This thing's maybe live.
We're live now, and then it'll be posted immediately. So now,
my sense is, I don't know the answer. I've certainly been on the phone a lot about it. I have no power. I'm a podcaster, but I'm very interested. And so here's what I know so far, which is that members of Congress were briefed yesterday that a war is coming, and it'll be announced in the address to the nation tonight at 9:00 by the president. Who knows, by the way, if that will actually happen? I don't know. And I never want to overstate what I know, which is pretty limited in general.
Now, we have the president himself. We're going to get to that. But this video, just in, the Venezuelan military is preparing for potential confrontation as President Nicolas Maduro expects clashes with the United States to begin tonight. Now, this is the AP. After 20 continuous days of announcements, I'll narrate what the threats, psychological war after 20 days of siege against the Venezuelan nation. Today, we are stronger than yesterday, more prepared. to defend the peace, sovereignty, and territorial integrity than yesterday. So this is news out of Caracas. Looks like a state channel with Maduro stepping up and getting ready for conflict with the United States. Now, the president did address what his remarks would be. It doesn't mean he's not going to state what's going to happen in Venezuela. My gut is that he's going to be talking about the economy, the great year we've had, and what we can look forward to in 2026. But here's the president's remarks on the tarmac.
Than ever before. Well, I think the message this evening is we inherited a mess, and we've done a great job, and we continue to, and our country is going to be stronger than ever before very soon. Well, I think the message...
So, yes, a message of a strong and hopeful future is what we all want to hear, but clearly it's possible he could sandwich in remarks about the escalation in Venezuela in that Oval Office address. Now, moving on to Fani Willis, Senator Colton Moore, he was one of the good guys down there that we covered when the Fani Willis escapade was taking place. He had this. He said, "Down goes Fani. Just got done with the Fani Willis testifying before Senate. Insane responses, dodging questions. Honored to have led the fight." Let's get his immediate reaction after the hearing, and we'll get into some of those remarks.
Hey everybody, it's State Senator Colton Moore. We're just walking out of corrupt Fani Willis's testimony before the Senate. You've been following along. We've been calling for this state Senate to investigate and defund Fani Willis. Well, now it's finally started. She showed up, and most of her answers revolved some kind of crazy race theory that she's come up with. We learned that her value politically has went up nearly $600 million, and she's keeping track of this throughout the entire time she was going after President Trump and the 18 others. What we learned today was absolutely astonishing, ridiculous, and now let's get to some accountability here in the Georgia State Senate. Thanks for keeping me in the fight. We'll be in touch.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
everybody, it's State.
That's what we're talking about. Accountability needs to happen. Disgraced Fani Willis repeats the lie that 5 police officers died on January 6th. Fact check, not 1 police officer died. The only life lost was Ashley Babbitt. However, 5 police officers mysteriously did something else following those events.
And here at all. Nothing about this billing can bring back the 5 lives that were lost on January 6th, to include, I understand that 4 were people that were in the mob, but they didn't deserve to lose their lives. 1 is very personal to me because it was a police officer just trying to serve. And here goes another example of a good American, and this is not about parties, as you all have tried to make it.
I love how she's just like, oh, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. She's the one on the chopping block here. And she's trying to say how, oh, remember the lives that were lost. I do this for justice. Okay, Fani. Well, justice is coming for you. We have this. ALX writes, Fani Willis is the perfect running mate for Jasmine Crockett in 2028. Oh, boy.
Trust you, I understand.
The date that I have is January 24th of 2022. Does that seem like it's within the range of being the correct date?
Sir, I already stated I don't trust you. I understand you're trying to run for lieutenant governor right now. Anything you want me to testify to, I'm going to need to see.
Okay. Were you aware that in between the time of the special grand jury being sworn in and receiving evidence, Mr. Wade traveled to Athens, Georgia to meet with officials from the White House counsel's office?
I don't recall.
On the right-hand side here is the meeting that I reference. Highlighted section reads, travel to Athens.
Dude, she is so guilty. Her attitude, oh, man, it is just...
With White
How
House
does this
counsel.
assist you in developing laws for Georgia? Because I believe the purpose that I'm here for is because you all need assistance in doing your job, and you want assistance with rules and regulations around how people should be a prosecutor. And it made sense to me that you'd come to the best prosecutor in the state to ask for some advice. But I'm confused as to how this assists you in what the purpose of me being here is.
The committee has a broad purpose. I'd be happy to refer to counsel as to the overall purpose of the committee. But my question for you is, as it relates
I
to
don't
this
think it's
travel-
relevant, so I'm objecting on relevance.
She's told you that the 2 process goes through the White House counsel's office. She's asked, it's been asked and answered.
His mic's not on. We can't hear him, but there's more. There's more, my friends. Defiant Fani Willis, obsessed with media fame and dollar value of publicity while stonewalling on the millions spent in failed Trump witch hunt. I mean, dude.
The time that the letter was sent. The letter I just referenced to the governor, the AG, and the secretary. Mr. DeSantis's email states that the analytics graph is attached as PDF. The previous one I sent was for, quote, Fulton County District Attorney. This one is for, quote, Fani Willis. We are getting more coverage via your name than by title. This graph has the coverage value for the last week at over $150 million. That's obviously high, but even adjusting downward, it's still a huge number. And then what's highlighted in red here is part of the critical mention report that mentions, which I'm going to just assume how often the search, which I think that he said this one is for your first and last name, what the audience was, which was approximately 6.3 million people, and then publicity value, which I think is what Mr. DeSantis is referencing when he references coverage value at $150 million. Do you recall seeing this report?
I don't.
Do you recall critical mention being used at all within your office to track the value of media as it related to the coverage of the election interference case? She told me she doesn't recognize this chart. I'm asking generally if this report, I'm asking if you've seen any report.
I don't know that I've seen any report, but I have definitely heard Mr. DeSantis say, that these numbers are always inflated. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. She loved the fame and the attention. She was the big celebrity. Santa Trump writes, Fani Willis is an arrogant bitch. Let's find out why, shall we?
To his involvement. I believe Mr. Wade said in her testimony that he was a part of over 90% of these meetings or decisions. Do you recall that being an approximate accurate statement as to his involvement?
I can't speak to any other person's testimony, so I'm not going to ever comment on someone's testimony. If he testified to such, you're going to need to show it to me. You'll have to forgive me. I don't really trust you. So I'll have to see that particular testimony.
Do you recall Mr. Wade being...
Wait just a minute. She's got a right to finish her answer. You don't have a right to cut her off.
That's incorrect, Governor. Thank you.
Sir. It is not.
I'll be completing answers, though, sir. So
sure.
We should get that straight from the...
Was Mr. Wade... I believe Mr. Wade said in your testimony...
Dude, and the fireworks. Here we have a report from when we initially covered it. Here's Angie unpacking Fani Willis campaign fund controversy.
No small matter. Tonight on Looking at You, we zero in on Fani Willis, a figure who's come under scrutiny for her handling of campaign funds. Let's cut straight to the chase. Campaign finance is no small matter. It's the bedrock of trust and transparency in our republic's electoral process. The rules are clear. Converting campaign funds to personal use isn't just frowned upon, it's prohibited. There is a fine line in the sand drawn by what's known as the irrespective test, a guideline to keep campaign and personal expenses separate and transparent. Now, Willis's own words have cast a shadow over her actions, admitting to taking a large amount of money from her first campaign and keeping some of the cash opens up Pandora's box of ethical and legal questions. This isn't about nickel and a dime. It's about the principle and the law. Take a look.
Whole life, when I took out a large amount of money on my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like, to tell you I just have cash in my house, I don't have as much.
Why does it matter to you, the American people? Because every dollar misused in the campaign is a breach of trust, a chip away at the integrity of our electoral system. It's about ensuring that those who seek to represent us, who wield power in our republic, are held to the highest standards of honesty and accountability. In a time when faith in our institutions is teetering, transparency isn't just expected, it's demanded. As this story unfolds, remember, it's not just about the misuse of funds. It's a test for the health of our republic, a question of whether those in power can be trusted to follow the same rules they are sworn to uphold. Stay tuned as we continue to hold the powerful accountable, reminding them that they serve the public, not their personal interests. This is Looking at You, where we keep an eye on those shaping our republic's future, because how they handle the small things speaks volumes about how they handle the big ones.
Yes, we've been tracking Fani Willis. Well done, Angie, on that report. We've been tracking it for a long time. Fani Willis getting pressed hard about her relationship with Nathan Wade. She's doing everything possible to avoid a straight answer. She looks rattled, clearly worried about saying the wrong thing as questions swirl around the Georgia case against Trump. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis struck a defiant tone in early questioning before the Georgia Senate Committee at the Capitol on Wednesday. Here she is erupting over payments to Nathan Wade.
Asking me to look at documents.
Screen.
I don't review those documents, so you're asking me to look at documents that I haven't for the first time. What I can tell you is that I allowed Mr. Wade to bill 160 hours a week, and then Mr. Wade would be the first one in the office making sure that my staff arrived. He corrected their behavior. They thought that 8:30 meant 8:30. He taught them that 8:30 means 7:45. He got there before them. He left after him. He taught them how to do this case, and he was a leader to that team and a public servant. And for that, him like me has been threatened thousands of times. You want something to investigate as a legislature? Investigate how many times they've called me the N-word. Why don't you investigate that? Why don't you investigate them writing on my house? Why don't you investigate the fact that my house has been swatted? If you want something to do with your time that makes sense, and you can use all this in your campaign ad, you attacked Fani Willis. What have you done, sir? Nothing.
So I'm going to refer you to the screen. I know you said you don't approve.
I didn't even hear anything you said, lady. I'm going to refer you back to the point at hand.
I've never seen it, so I can't talk to you about documents I don't approve and don't review. Can't talk to you about it.
Who does approve the documents in your office when invoices come in?
I thought we'd been through this.
I don't believe you said who reviews the invoices and approves the invoices in your office.
First of all, I have no firsthand knowledge of it.
You have no firsthand knowledge.
You want me to testify about something I don't have any firsthand knowledge of?
I'm asking you screen.
Oh, man, it just gets worse and worse and worse. The more she opens her mouth, the more she puts her foot right in it. Senate Committee on investigations to hear testimony from Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. Yeah, here's the official meeting notice and agenda. Fani Willis' political charade is over for everyone but taxpayers who are on the hook for millions of dollars wasted. Burt Jones posting this.
Georgia taxpayers just paid the price for a witch hunt that should have never happened. Fani Willis started this charade and targeted innocent lives and drug our state through the mud. And while liberal media kept fueling outrage with false stories, our Attorney General Chris Carr and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger stayed silent. They sat on their hands and refused to act. Real leaders stand up to corruption. Had that happened here, Fani Willis would not have been able to stick millions of dollars of costs to Georgia families. Georgians deserve leaders who won't play political games and will stand up to witch hunts, and they'll fight for you.
Burt Jones for governor. He's launching his campaign, going right after Fani Willis. Let's go. We got this. This is more from Colton Moore on a hit with Real America's Voice. Check this out.
Those answers, and that so the case against President Trump has now officially been dropped, but obviously there are still questions that need to be answered relative to Fani Willis. Are you expecting that we will get those answers and that there will be some real accountability?
No.
Finally, Terrence, I mean, we've been coming on this show now for years trying to hold Fani Willis accountable, and this is going to be the best news on your show for all of your viewers. Fani Willis finally going to be at the hot seat. We don't know if the Democrats are going to show up or not, but we're still going to have quorum even with the Republicans there. We've got to get back to the original questions, Terrence. Why did the grand jury not conclude and the indictment was already released? Was Fani Willis judge shopping with Judge McAfee? Probably so. I hope that question's asked. I want to know about Nathan Wade. I want to know about all those trips that she took to the White House. We've got an opportunity finally, Terrence, to get these questions asked. And I think when Fani Willis starts talking, she's not going to stop talking.
And she's done everything she can, including hiring her attorney, former Governor Roy Barnes. It's finally time. She's taking the hot seat.
And she definitely didn't survive that hot seat very well. Willis's counsel calling this a witch hunt.
Not
I
take
did
rape
not ask
kids.
you for advice on what the legislature
You
should
asked
do. And we will get to that time.
You answer the question. She has a right to answer.
And if she would answer the question, Governor, I would not be saying it. She's pontificating on everything from rape kits, which was what she was about to get into. The question was the amount of money that came from state funds and county funds. And if she doesn't know the answer to that question, the answer is I don't know. The question isn't let me talk. The answer isn't let me talk about rape kits. So I'll get back to the line of questioning. I'm going to give you latitude here, Madam DA, but the same way in a courtroom, there are guardrails as to what we need to stay in and within. Indeed, Governor, and this is not a courtroom.
Rulings, and you don't have the power.
I have plenary power, Governor, to conduct the meeting.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
Point is,
I know you think you do, and that you're above the law, but you are not. If you want to cite her for contempt,
Governor,
she is entitled to a jury trial, and I can examine you on your actions, and I can examine you on your motive. Then I will be glad to take that. As Clint Eastwood said, take my day.
Well, we know the motives. He's on the ballot.
Governor.
Oh
this
my
is
goodness.
This is a hearing of the Senate Special Committee on Investigations.
You're not worried about those that you convicted illegally and locked up.
This guy, former governor, hired as the attorney, calling it a witch hunt. Dude, you can't make this stuff up. So let me just be very clear about what just happened. A district attorney who launched one of the most aggressive prosecutions of a sitting president, a former president in American history, screamed at state lawmakers, refused to explain where millions of dollars went, repeated proven lies about January 6th, and dismissed the entire hearing as illegitimate. Her mask didn't slip, it shattered. And tonight, as the nation waits to hear whether President Trump will address potential military action abroad, the institutions that spent years trying to destroy him are crumbling in real time. Now, this matters because Fani Willis isn't just some rogue prosecutor in Georgia. She is a symbol of everything broken in the American justice system. She used taxpayer money to pursue a political vendetta. She hired her boyfriend and paid him personally. And when asked to explain herself, she attacked the people asking questions. That's not accountability, that's arrogance. It's exactly why trust in our institutions has collapsed. Meanwhile, the rumors circulating in Washington tonight turn out to be true. We are looking at a collision of crises unlike anything we've ever seen. A judicial system imploding at home while the military prepares abroad. The American people deserve answers from Willis, from Washington, and from everyone who spent years telling us the system was working just fine. So here's my question. Should Fani Willis face criminal charges for her conduct? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments, and make sure you check out the Next News merch shop. You'll find it linked in the description. All right, Northlander in with a $5 bill. Please consider having Mike Lindell on as a guest. He's the only one that can turn Minnesota red, and he's looking to do appearances. Yes, I will reach out to him. I like Mike. Mike knows me. Mike's a good guy. Yeah, because I think he's actually banned from Fox News. He used to be on Fox all the time, and then they shut him down. I've interviewed him a couple times. Okay, let's keep going. We got to talk about what happened with Jack Smith today. This is the moment we've been waiting for, because he was scheduled to stand before a closed-door session of Congress. And, well, you're going to find out. The man who raided a former president's home just walked into Congress and they locked the doors behind him. Jack Smith, the special counsel who launched armed federal raids into Mar-a-Lago, sought gag orders and prison time, who spent over $50 million taxpayer dollars trying to put Trump behind bars, is now sitting for closed-door testimony. No cameras, no public record. The American people footed the bill, but they're not allowed to watch. And why is that? Well, it's because we don't want it to be a theater, and that's what Jim Jordan knows. But when will that testimony see the light of day? You see, the stakes here go beyond one prosecutor. This is about whether the Justice Department can be weaponized against political opponents without consequence. Jack Smith's operation cost taxpayers more than $50 million. 65% of that went to salaries. His team raided a former president's home with armed agents. They sought to imprison him during an election. They pursued gag orders to silence him. And now we're learning that there may have been serious problems with probable cause from the very beginning. As we've been following, sources say internal FBI officials raised objections before the raid, warnings that were ignored. The smoking gun document has been dropped, and if Smith's team lied to the court, if they move forward without legal justification, this was not law enforcement. It was a political hit job funded by the taxpayer. And the fact that this testimony is happening behind closed doors tells you everything. Why? Because they're not going to let him grandstand in that moment. We do have some breaking news, though, on the weight loss front. While Jack Smith spent $50 million of your dollars chasing political enemies, Americans have been spending thousands on weight loss injections that don't even work long term. A major new analysis found people who stopped taking Ozempic gained back nearly all their weight within a year. It's expensive, temporary, and riddled with side effects. That's why I am excited to tell you about BioTrust GLP-1 Elevate at trimwithgary.com. It helps your body naturally trigger hunger-controlling signals. No needles, no prescriptions, no scary side effects. Promotes fullness, reduces cravings, supports fat loss over muscle loss. Right now, get 40% off at trimwithgary.com plus a 60-day satisfaction guarantee and free shipping. That's trimwithgary.com. Smarter weight loss while Washington wastes your money. So here's what makes this even worse. Before Jack Smith walked into that room, his lawyers rushed to the microphones, insisting the investigation follow the facts and the law. But lawmakers aren't buying it. They want to know why internal warnings were overruled. They want to know how evidence was handled. They want to know whether Smith's team misrepresented facts to obtain warrants. And here's the kicker. The prosecutor who accused Trump of mishandling documents is now being scrutinized for his own team handling documents and evidence. The man who demanded transparency from everyone else is now hiding behind closed doors, and the irony is absolutely brutal. Now, before we dive deeper into this story about Jack Smith, there's been talk about Dan Bongino and President Trump on the tarmac at Joint Base Andrews with remarks on Dan's fate at the FBI.
Oh, Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show. Yeah, I do.
You hear that? Do you hear that? He did a great job. Past tense. Something's brewing. I think he wants to go back to his show. Well, he definitely took a lot of heat when he left his show, and certain things transpired, certain investigations didn't get answered, certain things he said on his show that he said if he was ever in power, he would execute. People called him out for it. Could have done some brand damage. I don't know. I think Dan Bongino will be just fine. And if he does leave the FBI, then you know what? Thank you for your service, sir. And we look forward to seeing you back at your podcast. But let's continue here because we've got to talk about what happened with Jack Smith and the Mar-a-Lago raid, which we now know was a complete fabrication according to the leaked documents. Biden's DOJ had no probable cause to raid Mar-a-Lago.
We want answers today. So today, former Special Counsel Jack Smith is set to appear behind closed doors for a House Judiciary interview on his two probes into President Trump. One, of course, on classified documents, the other on the 2020 election. You're going to be a part of this interview. And when it comes to classified documents, Fox News just learned that the FBI did not believe it had probable cause to raid President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home in 2022, but moved forward amid pressure from the Biden Justice Department, with an official saying he didn't, quote, give a damn about the optics of the search. How important is this new information to your line of questioning?
I think it's very damning. I think that what Jack Smith did was unprecedented, going into the home of a former president, refusing to let the president speak up. Remember, they had a gag order. They limited what President Trump could say. They tried to destroy this president. And thank God the American people saw through this last November and elected him. Otherwise, this would still be going. They would have locked President Trump up. He'd likely be in prison if Jack Smith had his way and the American people didn't vote to elect President Trump. And so what we want to have today is a discussion with Jack Smith. We want him to answer the questions about the origins, his contact with the prior administration. This was weaponized justice, and we want answers today in this deposition.
Understood. Well, it will be behind closed doors, no doubt fiery, and you will be a part of it. Congressman Gooden, we thank you.
Absolutely. Let's keep going here. This guy says this gets it exactly wrong. It would have been great to have Jack Smith publicly lay out in detail the full case against Trump, and Smith said he'd be happy to do it, but Jim Jordan did not want that to happen, so he decided to have Smith testify behind closed doors. James Surowicki, it would have been great to have Jack Smith publicly lay it out. No, that's exactly why it was behind closed doors, because we've heard that story. Jack Smith had his time to lay out the case, and his case failed. And now he has to answer for it. You see? So we're going to put it behind closed doors for that very reason. No grandstanding at all. Former Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith appearing behind for the closed door interview. This appears to be his arrival.
Alleged attempt. Jack Smith looks forward today into answering the committee's questions.
So I believe this would be his lawyer.
Jack Smith looks forward today into answering the committee's questions into his investigation into President Trump's alleged attempt to unlawfully overturn the 2020 presidential election and his possession and secured the classified documents at his social club in Palm Beach. In today testifying before this committee, Jack is showing tremendous courage in light of the remarkable and unprecedented retribution campaign against him by this administration and this White House. Let's be clear. Jack Smith, a career prosecutor, conducted this investigation based on the facts and based on the law and nothing more. Jack Smith looks forward today into answering.
Oh, man. I mean, first we got Fani Willis freaking out. Now we got Jack Smith's lawyer. Oh, my goodness. And Jack Smith doing the walk of shame through the halls of the building there in Congress for the committee. Oh, these things. Okay, guys, listen, justice moves slow. It moves slow. I know we all want the perp walks, but we got to you got to lay the tracks before you could ride the rail. All right? So let's just keep riding. Let's keep laying the tracks, man, because a MAGA train is coming. Julie Kelly on the Jack Smith testifying. Let's see here. Bannon's War Room. I've pushed hard for public testimony. Public, again, why are these people arguing for public testimony? I just don't understand. She's on the phone with Steve Bannon. Let's listen.
Of the president. So if this is Jack Smith, a former special counsel, is testifying before House Judiciary Committee behind closed doors. I have pushed for public testimony by Jack Smith because I think the American people, after being forced to spend at least $50 million on that criminal pursuit of the president in 2 different cases are entitled to see this scumbag front and center. But the good news is that it appears Senator Johnston has said that this is sort of the precursor for the continued investigation and also public hearing with Jack Smith scheduled hopefully for early next year. So if this is
yeah. See, she's like, I want to see him dragged in front of the cameras. But how come people don't grasp the fact that if he goes in front of the cameras, he's going to grandstand? It's going to make all the headlines. And then CNN's just going to run with it. Instead, you got the lawyer standing out front making excuses. Julie Kelly, God bless you. We all want justice here. We all have different paths to get there. And again, you just heard her say there's going to be a public testimony. This is the beginning. There'll be more. There'll be more opportunities for him to grandstand. Don't you worry, Jack. Because we got some remarks from Senator Kennedy on Fox. Looks like prior to the hearing.
What I would like to hear from Mr. Smith is the truth. I suspect it's highly unlikely that he's interested in an outcome punishing someone he doesn't like. And I think he's going to be held accountable.
So we will see shortly how much they get out of this one. Search for answers on the Hill a short time from now. Former Special Counsel Jack Smith set to go behind closed doors and
closed door testimony. Oh, I can't wait to see the transcript. That's going to come out. We got here's Jim Jordan on Fox and Friends early this morning. Of course, he's the one who subpoenaed Jack Smith to appear for his closed door testimony.
They had to go in. I mean, we had interviewed Mr. D'Antuono, the head of the Washington field office way back when, and he told us he was against what they did when they raided President Trump's home. And he said if they were going to actually do it, they should have called President Trump's lawyers. His lawyers should have met him there. They should have done it together. But no, they couldn't do it that way. They had to go in like they did without consulting with President Trump was working with them. So I think it just underscores how political this whole thing was. Not to mention the other things that happened with Jack Smith's investigation. Remember, they put a gag order on the President of the United States. This is something we'll ask him about today. They put a gag order on the former president, then candidate and that was shot down mostly by the appeals court when he got that order. Jack Smith mishandled the documents that he got in the raid. So he mishandled the very documents he accused President Trump of mishandling. They had to file that with the court. And of course, we know that one of his deputies was engaged in what I think you could probably call a bribe when he said to a defendant's counsel, "We didn't know you were a Trump guy. We thought you were interested in this judge position." You can't do those kind of things, but all those things Jack Smith and his team engaged in as part of Arctic Frost investigation, which then was merged with the special counsel's investigation. I mean, we had interviewed Mr. D'Antuono, the head.
Yeah. So there you have Jim Jordan. We also have David Bossie says he'd press on probable cause and points to internal FBI objections, adding the documents show there are good people that call out bad people at the FBI.
Steve, that are coming out because, and thankfully to Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and other leadership at the DOJ, putting out these documents in the last couple of days, we are now seeing that the FBI leadership in the Washington field office said this ought not be done, this raid of Mar-a-Lago. We don't have a probable cause. It needs to be done another way, meaning negotiations with the lawyers. Let's do this quietly. There's no rush here. And Jack Smith and Merrick Garland, let's make sure we understand, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, which means that the President of the United States signed off on this. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris participated in this political witch hunt of Donald Trump. And we all have known it. And now we're seeing it. So Jack Smith needs to be brought to pay for what they brought.
Bossie, you bring up, don't bury the lead here, bro. The Washington field office were not a set of fans. They're not MAGA. They're not a set of fans of Donald Trump, right? And they came here and said, guys, hang on. You have no probable cause here. Let's do this the traditional way, lawyers to lawyers, and take this down. The Washington field office hated Trump. And even Hader said, we're going to break the law here. Am I incorrect on that?
No, you're exactly right. And I think by Cash putting these documents out, really educate the American people on a couple of things. One is the sheer corruption that was going on inside the Department of Justice and White House. And two, there are good people that will call out bad people inside the FBI. What Cash has said since he's been there, since day one, is we need to get rid of, rip out by the roots, the horrendous leadership, the woke mob, the left-wing leadership inside the FBI, and let the men and women who work the streets, who work these cases, do their jobs, because they are great Americans. And I tend to agree with that theory. The bad people have to go. Steve, you and I both know it. But this says that a guy in the Washington field office had the courage to stand up to Merrick Garland and the president of the United States, because he knew, or she knew, whoever it was, we don't know, had the courage to stand up to the political establishment.
And we need people like that inside who are willing to come forward and blow the whistle, hold these people accountable. This looks like another angle of the same video we saw moments before Jack Smith started his closed-door meeting with congressional reps, his legal representation. Let's be clear, Jack Smith is a career prosecutor who conducted his investigation based on the facts and the law. Yeah, sure. Biden's DOJ had no probable cause at all. Yeah.
By documents, the other on the... So today, former Special Counsel Jack Smith is set to...
Let me just see. I think, did we play that clip already? Yeah, we did. Sorry, my bad. So here we go. You want your blood to boil? C3 writes, the Jack Smith investigation cost taxpayers $54 million. All based on a scam, targeting enemies, with 65% of that $54 million paying their own salaries. Jack and his team got rich for sedition. Lock him up.
Mr. Smith, do you have any regrets about the way your prosecutions of the president were handled? What do you plan to tell the committee today, sir? Mr. Smith, do you prefer a public setting for this hearing?
How about you respond, Jack?
Mr. Smith, you said you wanted a public hearing. What do you want the public to know, sir?
There he is, doing the walk of shame. $50 million, arm raids on a former president, gag orders, prison threats, and now testimony behind closed doors where he is not allowed to grandstand. You see, Jack Smith operated like he was untouchable. He acted like there would never be a reckoning. Well, today, he's sitting in front of Congress with lawyers at his side, answering questions he thought he'd never face. The hunter has become the hunted. And the era of weaponized prosecutions without accountability is finally coming to an end. Now, the story matters because Jack Smith wasn't just a prosecutor. He was the tip of the spear in a coordinated effort to destroy Donald Trump through the legal system. $50 million of your money funded armed raids, aggressive prosecution, an operation designed to remove a political opponent from the battlefield. And when it failed, Smith walked away, no consequences, no explanation, until now. The fact that his testimony is happening behind closed doors should tell you everything you need to know. Jim Jordan knows exactly what would happen if they opened those doors. It turned into a circus. But we will find out. We will get the testimony. We will get the answers. Did Smith have probable cause? Did his team lie to the court? Did they plant or mishandle evidence? You see, these aren't partisan questions. They're just constitutional ones. So here's what I want to know from you. Should Jack Smith face criminal prosecution for his conduct? Yes or no? Sound off in the comments. And don't forget to check out the Next News merch shop. It is linked down below. Moving right along, some more super chats have come through since Northlanders, $5. We got $10 from Robert Malloy. Waving at my brother. What's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you out there. Thank you for that 10 spot. And Ruby Hoove dropping $5. Wow, she's a piece of work. Fani needs to cool her heels in a prison cell. Oh, yes. Perhaps that will happen. But You guys know as well as I do, these people never see any real justice. They put Trump through hell. They put him through hell. And now they're going through hell. Let's keep moving along here. We got to talk about what's going on with Mark Kelly now. It seems to be going deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay. Let's dive right in. A sitting United States senator told American troops they can refuse orders from their commander-in-chief, and now the Pentagon is investigating him. But that's not all. A Democrat-aligned organization running billboard campaigns aimed directly at young enlisted soldiers, telling them to disobey President Trump and promising legal cover if they do. This is not a protest. This isn't politics. This is a coordinated effort to fracture the United States military from within, and if it succeeds, the consequences go far beyond one senator or one billboard. Now let's be clear about what's happening. Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, a man who still collects a taxpayer-funded military pension and remains subject to the Uniform Military Code of Justice, publicly told service members they can refuse orders from President Trump. You remember that video? There were 6 of them. The seditious 6. And he's one of them. He said that they all said it, that they could refuse orders from President Trump. When asked about the Pentagon investigation, Kelly dismissed it as nonsense. He laughed it off. But veterans, they're not laughing. They're calling it sedition. Because that's what it is. When a senator encourages troops to break the chain of command, he's not exercising free speech. He's undermining civilian control of the military. You see, that's the foundation of our entire system. And now a group called Defiance.org, funded by anti-Trump operatives Miles Taylor and Xander Schultz, is amplifying that message with billboards and digital ads targeting junior enlisted soldiers. They're offering legal protection for anyone who disobeys. This is textbook color revolution, psychological warfare aimed at the armed forces. Now, some breaking news for anyone who's paying attention to what's happening in this country. When politicians are telling troops to disobey orders and billboards are urging military mutiny, you have to ask yourself, are you prepared for what comes next? This Christmas, give the gift of food security with My Patriot Supply. Right now, they're running the Buy One Gift 2 Christmas special. When you buy one 4-week emergency food kit, you get 2-week kits absolutely free. Perfect gifts for stocking up your own supply. With everything happening, Pentagon probes, institutional chaos, potential war announcements, having emergency food stored away just makes sense. Now, these kits are built to last and ready when you need them. So head to preparewithgary.com right now before this holiday offer ends. That's preparewithgary.com. Now, here is where it gets even darker. Kelly's not backing down. He repeated his statements. He attacked investigators, and insiders say he's terrified of where this probe actually leads because it's not about speech. It's about conduct. Meanwhile, Defiance.org is escalating their billboards specifically targeting young enlisted soldiers, the most impressionable ranks. They're using encrypted channels in social media to spread their message. And veterans groups are now demanding that Kelly face court-martial. Jack Posobiec called him out directly, warning that if Kelly wants to undermine the commander-in-chief while collecting a military pension, he better be ready for everything that entails. Let's go to that clip with Jack Posobiec real quick here. Just had it, and there it is.
Your trash, then Mark Kelly, if you want to get up there and you want to talk all your smack, you want to talk all your trash, then let's talk. Let's talk about your wife and her best friend, Hillary Clinton, and let's talk about her ties to Jeffrey Epstein. I'm more than happy to have those conversations. But if you want to get up there and undermine the commander-in-chief, undermine the president of the United States, and undermine the chain of command, while you, sir, are collecting a pension from the United States taxpayers and are subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, Mark Kelly, then you better be ready for all that entails. Mark Kelly, if you want to get up there...
Buckle up, dude. Senator Mark Kelly says he shouldn't be held accountable for his seditious behavior, veterans for Arizona say. He hasn't learned anything. He told U.S. military to disobey President Trump in that sedition. He could have recanted. Instead, he repeated. Court-Martial Kelly, that's what they're calling for.
It wasn't enough for Donald Trump to say I should be hanged, which prompted death threats against me and my family. It wasn't enough for Pete Hegseth to announce a sham investigation on social media. Now they are threatening everything I fought for and served for over 25 years in the U.S. Navy, all because I repeated something every service member is taught. It should send a shiver down the spine of every patriotic American that this president and Secretary of Defense would so corruptly abuse their power to come after me or anyone this way. The United States has the most professional military in the world. What I don't trust is Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, who have already shown they will stop at nothing and corrupt any process to make an example out of me. I will keep doing my job representing Arizona, whether that is voting to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for families, calling out these tariffs that are driving up.
Yeah. Pentagon investigation and deep state Senator Mark Kelly's call for military mutiny against Trump has now escalated to full command review, which is the last stage before an official court-martial.
He's not silencing me.
Congress. All right, our reporter, Brianna Morello, is also a Pentagon correspondent. She was exclusively sent the information about 15 minutes ago. Now it's breaking everywhere that Senator Mark Kelly has gone from a preliminary referral for the Pentagon to look at him for court-martialing, for violating federal laws, basically calling for mutiny or pushing mutiny and sedition inside the ranks, to actually a full command investigation. And so that's what happens right before you are actually court-martialed. So before it was like a referral from Congress to the DOJ for somebody to be investigated. Then the DOJ opens up a grand jury, and then you can be indicted or not. So it's now gone from preliminary to the equivalent of a grand jury level. It's a big deal, but this is the key. I've studied it. I've talked to top JAG lawyers, you name it, and they agree with me. The statement in of itself by the seditious six is not seditious. Hey, if you're given, illegal orders, don't follow them. But it's that the Soros NGO now, we know, wrote the script and gave it to them. They were conferring with Pentagon officials trying to create moles inside a move for mutiny in the future and claiming Trump had done something illegal or unlawful when he hadn't, which they've now admitted. It's all part of the Podesta plan, the Civil War plan, all of that we've been covering for a long time, but that they admit they're doing. So it's the intent of that, and it's the conspiracy organizing that to create the idea that Trump is a tyrant ahead of a future uprising the Democrats are planning, that Podesta, the Democrats have written about, that makes a seditious conspiracy and really treason. But if they just review in the pre-court-martial just his statement, then he should not be court-martialed. He should not be actually brought up on official charges, shouldn't be indicted. But if you do look at the arc of what it's part of, then it's completely illegal. I'm not saying Congress referred the senator. I'm using it in law parallels to how the civil law works, the criminal law works on the civilian side versus the military, but it's the same thing. You can have articles of impeachment, let's use that analogy, brought up by, say, Al Green, but if the House doesn't vote in majority, then you don't get the indictment in the House for an impeachment. Then if they do get the vote, it goes to a full trial in the Senate. So we're going through 3 stages here. First, you had the referral made to the Pentagon by Hegseth saying, I want you to look at this. They said, yes, we think it warrants now going to the full command review, and that's the equivalent of the grand jury that then decides whether or not to have the court-martial that is the trial. And then he'll be found innocent or guilty. That's the key. But if you look at the overall reason they're doing it and why they've said they're doing it, and now some of those members of the Seditious Six have actually called for the military not to follow any orders and are just saying Trump's illegal, it's all part of the larger Russia, the Ukraine stuff, all of it, undermining him as an illegitimate president. It's all run by Obama, John Brennan, and the globalist above it. And we know that that's come out, and that's what's illegal, is these people trying to overthrow our elected president and our vote. That's the facts. We'll be covering it more tomorrow at 8 a.m. with Brianna Morello when she hosts the American Journal at Infowars.com/.
I'm trying to track down that actual tweet from her right now. B-R-E-A. B-R-E-A-N-N-A-M-O-R-E-L-L-O. Yeah, I was searching for it. It's not a common spelling, and that's what kind of threw me off here. Let's just check her page real quick. Let's see, when did she post this tweet here? Yeah, when did she post this? Well, I'm not seeing it initially here. So regardless, the escalation is happening. And there's a meme here. Mark Kelly, I'm an astronaut. So is Katy Perry. Remember she went up in space? Senator Mark Kelly posting this 6 hours ago, less than 3 hours after the president announced a blockade of Venezuela last night. The Secretary of Defense was busy tweeting about me. He wasn't conferring with his senior leadership combat commanders of the White House. He wasn't planning for what's likely to be a major operation. He wasn't trying to figure out how to reduce risks to our service members. He was tweeting about me. Oh, well, you should be honored. And how do you know he wasn't doing those things? This is what Pete Hegseth posted. Hegseth's office escalating probe of Senator Mark Kelly, Pentagon says. And what did he do? He took a screenshot of a Washington Post article, posted 4 words, and Senator Mark Kelly is getting triggered. Let's go to this NGO advertising the seditious 6 color revolution on billboards. Patrick Henry says, sounds like an op approved by the seditious 6 color revolution, a Democrat NGO buying billboards to tell U.S. troops to disobey President Trump. Defiance.org is offering legal cover for refusal of orders. This is organized resistance targeting the military itself. Founded by Miles Taylor and Xander Schultz, Defiance is rolling out ads aimed at enlisting troops, encouraging them to ignore Trump, his orders. The group coordinates with whistleblower aid to provide legal defense for service members who refuse commands. This clearly crosses the line from protest into sedition by attacking military discipline. Using NGOs to pressure troops mirrors tactics seen in foreign color revolutions. Amuse posting this Democrat NGO, and this is apparently one of the billboards and the founders right there who are behind it. So yeah, billboards going up, the seditious 6 continuing to sweat, but looks like Mark Kelly's petrified. Let's listen here. This is 24 hours ago.
Social media campaign.
See some stuff on social media from time to time.
So, Senator, have you been asked to, say, turn over documents? Just trying to get to the bottom of whether this is an actual investigation or is it like a social media campaign?
It's probably the latter, at least for now. And this is escalation, right? They say something about a command investigation without even explaining what that is. And by the way, I found out about that from the new press corps at the Pentagon, which consists of Matt Gaetz and the Pizzagate conspiracy guy that now work over there. So that's how we hear about this stuff. From my perspective, it doesn't seem, very serious. So we do have to take this seriously.
Yeah.
And, I've got attorneys and we're going to, mount a strong defense. This is all about escalation and intimidation. But in this case, they got the wrong guy. I'm not going to back off. I'm not going to stop doing my job because Donald Trump said I should be hanged and executed. And Hegseth says, there's going to be an investigation under the Uniform Code of Military Justice for, by the way, saying what is in the UCMJ.
Senator Pete Hegseth is the Secretary of Defense right now, but the Defense Department goes on and on and on. And the world is filled with trouble spots. There's the Taiwan Straits, there's Japanese, their relationship with China, there's the Chinese in Africa, there's danger all over the world. What's your sense of the operation of the Defense Department beneath Hegseth and his people, the day-to-day operation of the Defense Department in terms of the security of the United States?
You know where he's going to go with this.
Well, I'm really concerned. I mean, he has fired inspectors general. He's fired JAG officers. He's fired admirals and generals because of their gender and the color of their skin.
Well, the only jag off here is you, buddy. So think about what we're witnessing. United States Senator telling troops to defy their commander-in-chief, a Democrat-funded organization running ads urging military disobedience, billboards promising legal cover for soldiers who break the chain of command, and a Pentagon investigation that Kelly dismisses as a joke. It's not politics. This is an attack on constitutional orders. If soldiers can be convinced to ignore lawful commands based on political preference, the military ceases to function. And that's exactly what these people want. So the story matters because civilian control of the military is the bedrock of the American Republic. The moment soldiers start choosing which orders to follow based on politics, the entire system collapses. And right now, a sitting senator and a well-funded NGO are actively working to make that happen. Mark Kelly in the seditious Six told troops to disobey. Defiance.org is running billboards reinforcing the message. They're targeting young soldiers who may not understand the gravity of what's being asked. This is information warfare aimed at fracturing the most powerful military on earth. The Pentagon's investigating, but investigation is not enough. If Kelly violated the Uniform Military Code of Justice, he does need to face consequences. Veterans are demanding it. The Constitution requires it. So here's my question. Should Mark Kelly, Senator Mark Kelly, be court-martialed for encouraging troops to defy the president? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. And grab your next news gear at the merch shop, linked in the description. All right. No new super chats to speak of. Frank Perdue. That's so funny. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? There's room for your local FEMA camp for Kelly. Yeah, sure is. All right, we got to take, we're going to go from D.C. and Arizona up to Minnesota. We got to find out what's going on there in Minnesota. Shall we? I think we shall. Hell yeah, that's what this Navy veteran says. All right. Reset. Let's go. We've been covering the chaos in Minnesota for weeks now, and tonight it just blew wide open. Representative Ilhan Omar claimed her son was pulled over by ICE agents after a Target run and asked for proof of citizenship. Now we're learning there's just one major problem with that whole thing. The Department of Homeland Security says it never happened. Zero record of it, no stop, no encounter, nothing. The Department of Homeland Security is now calling Omar's accusation shameful, a fabricated story to demonize federal law enforcement. And instead of apologizing, Omar doubled down. Of course she does. But this lie is only the tip of the iceberg in a state that is spiraling out of control. Now, here's what's at stake. You see, Minnesota isn't just dealing with one congresswoman's false accusation. The entire state is in open defiance of federal authority. Okay? Massive education fraud. This is breaking now. Ghost students siphoning millions in taxpayer dollars while Governor Tim Walz looked the other way. Ghost students? This is a new one. The Trump administration now formally demanding Walz resign. We told you about the resistance networks run by the state lawmakers, signal chats alerting illegal immigrants to ICE locations, free legal help, even grocery deliveries to help people evade federal agents. And now we have a sitting congresswoman facing fabricated stories about her own son to paint ICE as racist thugs. You see, this is coordinated. Omar's lie was not a mistake. It was a PR stunt. DHS called it exactly that, and the real-world consequences, they're dangerous. When elected officials spread false claims about law enforcement, they put agents at risk. I mean, we've already seen Somali crowds harassing ICE agents in Minneapolis. Omar's rhetoric fuels that fire. And some breaking news for your gut health this holiday season. While Minnesota politicians spread lies and chaos, your digestive system is taking a beating from holiday parties, rich foods, and stress. That is why you need Good Brew. It is the only probiotic. I take it every morning. It survives my hot morning coffee. The co-founder nearly called 911 when severe acid reflux caused food to lodge in his throat. Doctors wanted him on antacids for life. Instead, he discovered BC30 probiotic, and within a week, his reflux was gone. Every scoop delivers 1 billion CFUs of beneficial bacteria plus organic fiber. Again, I take 1 scoop every morning. No more post-party bloating, no more holiday heartburn. Right now, get a free travel size plus 10% off with code NEXTNEWS at goodbrew.com. That's goodbrew.com, GOODBRU.com. Survive this holiday season. Unlike Ilhan Omar, probably not going to survive this one because it gets worse. When reporters confronted Omar about the false ICE claim, what did she do? She refused to answer. And says she shot back that ICE has been known to lie. This from a woman who's faced years of questions about alleged marriage fraud and immigration fraud of her own. Meanwhile, whistleblowers are now coming forward exposing similar Somali fraud schemes. In Maine, NGOs charging taxpayers for services never performed, funneling money back where? Overseas. State Rep Alex Falconer is allegedly running a resistance network complete with signal chats, legal aid, and real-time ICE location tracking. Minnesota isn't just failing to cooperate with federal law enforcement, it's actively obstructing it. Now, here, Ilhan Omar, this was 7 hours ago, rapid response, 47 posts. This is Ilhan Omar on the Somali community in Minnesota. I'm gonna play it, and then I'm gonna tell you exactly the truth behind it, who they really are.
Doctors, we are doctors, we are teachers, we are entrepreneurs, and we are elected representatives of our state. And so these vile comments and this sort of creepy obsession that that he has on me and Somali Americans really is dangerous, and it's beneath the office of the presidency.
Beneath the office, but here's the funny part. She says we're doctors, teachers, we're entrepreneurs. 80% of Somali immigrant households receive some form of welfare. That's an official statement from the White House Rapid Response X account. Here's a brutal moment. Independent journalist Nick Shirley, this came out just a couple minutes ago, confronts and grills a Minnesota Democrat state rep for letting Somalis commit rampant fraud under Tim Walz. Oh yeah, let's go.
Because that's what I heard you talk.
Yes, but
He has some very valid questions to ask about what's going on here in Minnesota. And do you think this fraud
I don't know who
crosses?
you are.
My name is Nick Shirley. Do you think this fraud is Republican or Democrat, or just facts that fraud is happening?
So just now they told me. I think the fact that
Because
you're talking about it as a partisan issue.
Because that's what I heard you talking about.
I know what I said is that what we're talking
we want
about
to build,
is
we want to build trust, but fraud is fraud. So why should we be enabling fraud to happen here?
No, I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to when are you happen. gonna hold Governor Walz accountable for this? Okay, sir. No. This is not. Sir. When are you going to hold Governor Walz? No. She is a representative for the state of Minnesota. Yes or no? Excuse me. Yes. Are you? If you're going to talk to me like are that, you going to say to her, I'm a disability advocate? I heard you, and we've got a chance to testify.
Thank you for testifying
today. No.
Ma'am.
She needs to ask questions because she represents.
The facts are the facts that fraud is happening here, and it's not a nonpartisan issue. How come you think fraud has been able to happen so much underneath
I think
the
if you've
government
been
here?
listening to our hearings, we've had now 10 hearings on this. And so there's really good data from the people who both work within the administration as well as who both Democrat and Republicans. I think what you
I really got to say my hat's off to Nick Shirley here. I really like his delivery. I like his presentation. I like how he asked the questions. He's very calm, very measured. And he just goes right through it all. Well done.
heard today is that the Republicans who control this committee are not actually interested in solving fraud. What they're interested in is telling a story.
This fraud has happened underneath Democrat leader Tim Walz.
There has been Medicaid fraud across the country under Democrats and Republicans. There's fraud within the Trump administration. We have is fraud. Private providers have made government a mark. And so every person running government, Democrats or Republicans, are dealing with the issue of how to keep fraudsters out of our public payment. We're also dealing with veterans. We're dealing with consumers. I hope you're looking at that. If you look at United Health, currently...
I'm sorry. I get caught up in the production of things sometimes when I watch, because that's just my nature as a producer myself. That move when they exited the door was so slick. He did not skip a beat. He even opened the door for her with his back. And he kept going. Dude, this guy is smooth.
Is being charged with defrauding Medicare. You know who runs Medicare? President Trump. And so it isn't a partisan issue. The fact that you're trying to make it a partisan issue tells me you have an angle, which is fine. That's why I asked who you're with.
Well, a lot of fraud has happened here. Political correctness is stopping.
President Trump, Governor, you look down the line, and I hope you're talking about that, because if you look at what CMS has put out, right, Medicaid fraud is a 50-state issue. Mm-hmm. And so, again, it is not a partisan issue. There are Democrats and Republicans who are sitting in that.
It's a 50-state issue, and you're sitting in the one with the biggest case.
Committee talking about it, but what you did here was the Republican chair say she's not turning information over to the one person in government who can stop payment, and I hope you print that. Thank you for coming today.
Okay.
Crazy.
Well, you saw what happened there.
The state
of
Minnesota
that
we live in,
and these politicians are just walking off thinking it's okay Tuesday, and they want to go visit the Trump, they want to blame the Trump administration. We have Democrats blaming ICE. I'm tired. My people are suffering. I'm scared for my little brother. My people are suffering, and these people just walk off. We have a government.
Wow. Well done on that one. 14 minutes ago, this was in Ilhan Omar. Members of the Somali community are ready to confront President Trump. Stephen Miller and ICE over policies blocking additional Somali immigration and enforcing deportations. Omar calls these measures racist, accuses Trump and Miller of white nationalism, vows to fight any restrictions on Somali migration or removal of Somali nationals. Well, good luck with that. You really don't, that's really not your jurisdiction, right? Your jurisdiction is where the fraud took place. President Trump's jurisdiction is all 50 states. So if Trump goes, yeah, shut down the immigration from Somalia, and go find the ones who aren't here legally in Minnesota and send them back. That's entirely his rule of law. Yeah, good luck with that, girl. Here's another confrontation with Ilhan Omar. Refused to answer why she lied about ICE targeting her son.
Hello, Congresswoman Omar. DHS says they have no record of ICE pulling over your son. Why did you lie about ICE targeting your son? One more time. Why did you lie about ICE targeting your son, Congresswoman? Do you think it's responsible to lie about ICE targeting an individual in this time when domestic and Islamic terrorists are targeting ICE officials? Do you care to comment?
Do you care to comment? No, she only cares to run. Omar caught in a lie on CNN, of all places, about her son being profiled by ICE. Says ICE has been known to lie. Says the one who lied about her marriage to her brother.
Their words. The Department of Homeland Security says, and I'm quoting them, ICE has absolutely zero record of its officers or agents pulling over Congresswoman Omar's son, and have accused you of seeking to, quote, demonize ICE as part of a PR stunt. Their words. What do you say to that?
Well, if ICE is saying that they have documentation of every single person that they have pulled over in Minneapolis, we would love to see that record because we've certainly, myself and the governor, have been asking them to share information with us on the ways in which they have interacted with Minnesotans, and they have not been able to provide a single information. So it is amazing that they're able to put out this statement saying definitely that they did not pull my son over when they haven't been able to answer anything else. And ICE has been known to lie when it comes to their enforcement.
I know.
Man, ICE has been known to lie, she says. Don't trust ICE. Ilhan Omar in hot water, falsely claiming her son was pulled over by ICE agents after a Target run, lying through her teeth. And I want to get to the education fraud in Minnesota because the fraud is so vast there. There are so many tentacles to the fraud. We're finding out this now. Linda McMahon just caught Minnesota engaging in massive education fraud, formally calls for Governor Tim Walz to resign for dereliction of duty. Ghost students received millions of taxpayer dollars and pocketed the cash. I implore you to resign and make way for more capable leadership. This is the letter that went to Governor Walz from the Secretary of Education. She writes, the integrity of America's federalist system where governance is a partnership between national and state authorities only works if state leaders uphold justice and common sense. When states abuse their authority to oversee free and fair elections, enforce criminal law, or distribute entitlements and other public benefits, the system of states' rights and liberties, that relationship of trust falls apart. You've been Minnesota's governor since 2019. During that time, your careless lack of oversight and abuse of the welfare system has attracted fraudsters from around the world, especially from Somalia, to establish a beachhead of criminality in our country. As President Trump put it, you have turned Minnesota into a fraudulent hub of money laundering activity. Damn. At the beginning of this year, the U.S. Department of Education became aware that fraudulent college applicants, especially concentrated in Minnesota, were gaming the federal post-secondary education system to collect money that was intended for young Americans to help them afford college. We call these fraudsters ghost students because they were not ID verified and often did not live in the United States, or they simply did not exist. In Minnesota, 1,834 ghost students were found to have received $12.5 million in taxpayer-funded grants and loans. Oh, my goodness. They collected checks from the federal government, shared a small portion of the money with college, and pocketed the rest without attending the college at all. To stop ghost students, we at the Department of Education implemented enhanced fraud controls, such as mandatory identity verification for certain first-time student applicants. Our new fraud prevention system now blocked more than $1 billion in attempted financial aid theft by fraudsters, including international fraud rings and AI bots pretending to be students. Oh, here's page 2. Even one of your state's top elected officials, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, has sought to take advantage of the federal taxpayer by advocating for broad student debt cancellation, which she's publicly acknowledged will benefit her directly. She borrowed tens of thousands of dollars to attend college as a politics major that she now does not think she should have to repay, despite her generous taxpayer-funded salary. My colleagues in other federal departments have uncovered the massive scandal of welfare fraud in Minnesota, where you have done absolutely nothing as governor to stop this criminal behavior. Scammers have gotten rich off federal housing, education, food stamps, and small business programs, even defrauding assistance for elder care and autistic children. Joining these criminals in their schemes have been Minnesota politicians who benefit both in votes and donations from the fraudsters' support, like radical Islamic terror groups overseas who receive Minnesota money to kill American service members. Minnesota's political elite has turned a blind eye and even helped facilitate the laundering of money that was meant to help America's least fortunate. Shame on you, Governor Walz, for allowing this to happen and for benefiting from it. Stop defrauding American taxpayers, and no politician is above the law. And my department, alongside every other agency under the leadership of President Trump, will continue to ensure that you will not be able to dodge accountability for your actions. Given your dereliction of the office entrusted to you by Minnesotans, I implore you to resign and make way for more capable leadership. Sincerely, Linda E. McMahon, U.S. Secretary of Education. Oh, yeah. That's a bombshell. Right there. It is all going down. Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar, Keith Ellison are directly tied to the enormous Somali fraud ring. Here is a brief report on that from Fox, connecting all the dots.
Subject Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a web of connections between them and those directly involved in the fraud. For example, Ilhan Omar alleged enabling introducing the 2020 Meals Act, which was ultimately subject to fraud. Held a campaign victory party at the Safari restaurant. That's where one of the men who run that restaurant has associations to the convicted individuals. And then there's Tim Walz. House oversight investigation role in his role as governor, or Keith Ellison, the attorney general. His job is to enforce the law in Minnesota, but instead he's getting donations after meeting with the Feeding Our Future representatives. The Feeding Our Future, the biggest known yet part of this entire theft ring. Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a.
So it continues. It continues the investigation. We're going to keep tracking it because we have to. We want accountability. So let's put it all together. A congresswoman fabricates an ICE encounter to smear federal agents. The Department of Homeland Security publicly calls her a liar. The governor under federal investigation for massive fraud. State lawmakers are running underground networks to help illegal immigrants evade authorities, and mobs are harassing ICE agents in the streets. This is not dysfunction. This is a state in open rebellion against federal law. And the woman at the center of it all, Ilhan Omar, just got caught making it all up. So we've been telling you for weeks that Minnesota is ground zero for institutional collapse, and tonight proves it. You see, Ilhan Omar didn't misspeak. She didn't exaggerate. She fabricated a story about her own son to demonize ICE agents doing their jobs. DHS has zero record of the encounter that she described, none. And when confronted, she attacked the agency instead of correcting the record. This is a sitting member of Congress using her platform to spread disinformation that endangers federal officers. Meanwhile, Governor Walz facing fraud allegations. State lawmakers are running resistance cells, and taxpayer money is being stolen through ghost students and phantom services. Minnesota is not broken. It's an active defiance of the United States government. Now, the question is what happens next. So I will ask you directly. Should Ilhan Omar be immediately deported for her actions? Yes or no? Tell me in the comments. And while you're there, check out the Next News merch shop. You'll find it linked in the description. Oh, yeah. Party's over in Minnesota. That's for sure. Speaking of parties, think about those big, beautiful parties President Trump's going to have in that ballroom. Ha ha! Yes, my friends. I cannot wait to see that Ballroom open. Trump's big, beautiful balls are going to be the talk of the town, right? The balls are held for charity and some for fancy dress, but the balls that are held for pleasure are the ones I love the best. Yes, President Trump will have them all. All right. Maybe I should have saved that for the segment. Maybe I'll just redo it. What do you think? All right, let's go. They tried everything. Investigations, indictments, gag orders, raids, and when that all failed, they went after his construction project, right? A coalition of activist preservation groups ran to federal court. Brian, let me take that back. I'm sorry. Take two. They tried everything. Investigations, indictments, gag orders, raids, assassinations, and when all of that failed, they went after his construction project. A coalition of activist preservation groups ran to federal court demanding an emergency halt to President Trump's privately funded White House ballroom. They claimed abuse of power. They claimed irreparable harm. They claimed the president couldn't build on White House grounds, and today a federal judge told him no. The injunction failed. Construction continues, and once again, the lawfare machine just hit a wall it can't break through. Because President Trump's going to have the biggest balls in Washington, D.C. His balls are going to be the talk of the town. Some balls are held for charity, some for fancy dress, but the balls that are held for pleasure are the balls I love the best. And that's exactly what President Trump's going to do. He's going to have all the balls. The biggest balls in D.C. But here's what this fight's really about. The Ballroom project, funded entirely with private money at an estimated cost of $300 to $400 million. It would give the White House a world-class venue capable of hosting state functions and even future inaugurations. No more renting hotel ballrooms, no more outsourcing American prestige. Trump wanted to build something permanent, something grand, something that says America doesn't beg for space, it creates it. And that's exactly why they tried to stop him. The National Trust for Historic Preservation, they filed suit claiming no president should be allowed to alter the White House complex. But here's what they don't mention. Renovations, demolitions, and expansions have happened throughout history. The Roosevelt Room, the West Wing itself, changes happen. But when Trump does it, suddenly it's a constitutional crisis. See, this was never about preservation. It was about control. It was about using courts to veto presidential authority, and today, that strategy failed. Some breaking news for your holiday shopping. While the left tries to block Trump from building at the White House, I found something you can actually build your health and your gift list at the same time. The C60 Evo holiday gift sets, they're 40% off right now when you grab 6 bundles. Each bundle includes their advanced facial serum. Yes, this stuff is like youth in a bottle. I use it all the time. Plus a bottle of their breakthrough C60 Evo oil. All right. This is a bottle that I was sent, and I love this stuff. I drink it every morning. It's known for boosting energy, mental clarity, faster recovery, and fighting inflammation. You pair the serum with the oil, and you get inside and outside support you can feel and see. Keep a couple sets for yourself. Give the rest. Remember, this offer is not on their website. It's exclusively for our audience. It's just for you at c60evo.com/NNN. That's c60evo.com/NNN. You need to get them before they are gone, especially at this price. Keep them for yourself, maybe. I don't know. But hey, here's the part the media buried. The judge didn't just stop. The judge didn't just decline to stop the construction. He signaled he wasn't inclined to intervene at all. He gave Trump officials 2 weeks to submit additional plans, which is standard procedure. It's not a rebuke. The emergency halt failed completely, and within hours, President Trump announced victory. He confirmed construction continues, and the ballroom will have the capability to host future inaugurations. Think about that. While his enemies spent years trying to put him in prison, put him in the grave, Trump is building a venue where future presidents, including himself, can celebrate. And that's not just winning in a court case. That is rewriting the battlefield entirety. And President Trump has a model, Patriot Takes, not a fan of the president or anyone on the right for that matter. Technomancer writes, what is this, a ballroom for ants? Oh, goodness. Patriot Takes, this was 4 hours. A model on Trump's desk shows his ballroom will be bigger than the White House itself. Wow, that's pretty cool. Can you see that? Yeah. You know why? Because when you're the president of the free world, you need to have a big room to hold everybody. All right? President Trump, look at that. Fine. Good. It's going to be gorgeous. That thing is going to be so freaking cool. I can't wait to see it. I mean, look at the scale. It is bigger than the White House itself. I don't know if this is to scale, to be honest with you. I would assume that it is. But, you know, people are triggered over it. Oh my goodness, it's so big. Dude, it's America, man. That's how we do it. Everything's big in America. Why are you hating? It's the White House. Guess what? When your liberal, person ever shows up in the White House, if they steal another election, maybe, but they'll get to use it too. All right, so just shut the fuck up. Oh, you know what? Beep that, Brian. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. Yeah, the left is just so triggered. Patty Smith, Trump should be realistic and build the damn ballroom at Mar-a-Lago using his own money. The American people want the White House East Wing restored at the expense of Donald J. Trump, who had it destroyed. Ron Filipkowski. Trump's ballroom went from $200 million to $250 million to $300 million to $350 million to $400 million. And he brings the receipts showing these tweets. We're proud to announce this is a tweet here from the White House. $200 million, $250, $300 to $400. So, what's funny? Maybe Ron, are you paying attention to the Federal Reserve renovation? The cost overruns there? Are you complaining about that? Those are the guys that print the freaking money. Talking, how much is it? Like $3 billion? Isn't that crazy? No one's complaining about that. That's all Federal Reserve money paying for that. This is a private ballroom, dude. And you're going to complain? Oh no, it went from 200 to 400,000, whatever. What do you care? It's privately funded. Go chase down the scumbags at the Federal Reserve. Let's see. Based on reports, people complain about the stuff in the White House. Based on reports, President Trump personally funded the gold accents added to the Oval Office in 2025 for broader White House projects like the new ballroom. Funding comes from private donors, including major companies. That's according to Grok. Here we go. Let's go to the president now. Trump just revealed he defeated the lawsuit that tried to block construction of his big, beautiful ballroom.
And soon you'll have a ballroom that's so big I can handle. And we just won the case today. Did you know that, Mark? We just won the case. We got sued. We're donating a $400 million ballroom, and we got sued not to build it. For 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom, and we're giving them, myself and donors are giving them, free of charge, for nothing. We're donating a building that's approximately 400 million. I think I'll do it for less, but it's 400. I should do it for less. I will do it for less. But just in case I say 400, otherwise if I go $3 over, the press will say, it costs more. I built under budget and ahead of schedule. Right, Jason? Always. I know how to build under budget. I build good. But we won the case. They asked for a restraining order to stop us from building a magnificent ballroom. I said, who would ask for a restraint? We're giving them, Sid, a $400 million. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom, and it'll handle inaugurations. It's got 5-inch thick glass windows. It impenetrable by anything but a howitzer. It's impenetrable. Now, I will say, if I'm up making a speech someday, Mark, and I hear ding, 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 I'm out of there. But we have, soon you'll have a ballroom that's so big I can handle.
I don't know how this guy can still joke about assassination attempts after what he's been through, but man, he's got the thickest skin. God bless him, dude. Federal judge in Washington said on Tuesday he was not inclined to order the Trump administration to immediately halt work on a $300 million White House ballroom on the site of the demolished East Wing, where while hearing a lawsuit alleging the project abuses presidential power. A federal judge, let's see, we have this from PBS News.
White House ballroom. A federal judge in Washington says he's not inclined to stop construction of President Trump's $300 million White House ballroom. That comes in response to a lawsuit from the National Trust for Historic Preservation last week aimed at halting the project. The nonprofit group is calling for a thorough review process, saying the project needs congressional approval. The administration argued that the president has the authority to modify the White House and that construction must continue for national security reasons. But officials did not cite specific concerns.
The big, beautiful ballroom continues. Federal judge indicates he won't halt the White House ballroom project. Judge Richard Leon said Trump officials had 2 weeks to submit the plans for their controversial addition. Historic preservationists are demanding an immediate halt. Here's a hot take from Damani Felder. Democrats won't admit it, but this is the real reason they're crying about Trump's ballroom so much.
Down in the last Democrats will never admit this, but the real reason they're mad at Trump for building this ballroom is not because he's destroying a historical monument, because they don't care about those at all. They were the first ones out there destroying monuments themselves or dumping paint on them or pulling them down in the last 4 years, and they think you won't remember that, but you do. The fact of the matter is, Trump is building something, building a legacy that will last long after he is gone. And when your ideology is simply to destroy everything, which is what the left's ideology is, that's why they always go out and about saying, oh, burn this down, tear this down. That's why they always go out and riot and loot, is because destruction is their default setting. They cannot abide by the fact that someone is actually building something good that will last long into the future. And the fact of the matter is, Trump isn't even using a single dollar of their taxpayer funds to do it. He's even gotten many other companies to throw their hats in the ring for this effort as well. We're talking about big companies like Apple, like Amazon, like T-Mobile, like Meta. The list goes on and on. And you
Now, I'm going to pause this for a second because, and you remember Pocahontas? She actually had the balls to put a bill forward to try to stop it as well, claiming that all those companies he just mentioned have business before the government, so therefore they're going to get preferential treatment. This must be investigated. Yeah. Good luck with that, Pocahontas. Let's go back to Damani Felder.
Think, would these companies be afraid of a potential liberal boycott? No. Why would they? The average leftist boycott lasts for about 5 seconds before they get distracted by the next big thing and move on to the next topic. These companies want to be a part of something transformative, something that is inherently good for America. That's why they don't fear a leftist boycott anymore. Many companies don't fear the left anymore, and they feel their stranglehold on these companies slipping away, which is why they're dialing up their intensity of these attacks. So they will act this way today for the White House ballroom. They'll act like this in a few years when Trump does his presidential museum. But all they know how to do is destroy. And the fact that Trump's legacy is going to last long after he is gone is the real reason why they are upset. Those are my thoughts. Hopefully you agree.
Nah, dude, that guy's on point. He is on point. President Trump, man. You got this, dude. Now step back and just look at the pattern. They raided his home. They tried to kill him. He's still standing. They indicted him 4 times. He won the election. They tried to gag him. He spoke louder. They tried to bankrupt him. He raised more money. He dodged a bullet. And now they tried to stop him from building at the White House, and a federal judge just shut him down. The lawfare machine is out of ammunition, and every weapon they had has failed because no weapon formed against him shall prosper. And Donald Trump is still building. So the story matters because it's the final proof that the lawfare strategy is dead. For years, Trump's enemies believed they could destroy him through courts and prosecutors, activist judges, even assassins. They threw everything they had. And today, a federal judge refused to halt construction at the White House. The emergency injunction failed. The ballroom goes up. So the message is clear. You can't litigate your way to victory against the president that the American people elected. Trump just didn't win a legal skirmish. He exposed the entire strategy as bankrupt. The preservation groups, the activist lawyers, the media cheerleaders, they all bet on lawfare and they lost again. And now Trump is building a ballroom at the White House that could host his own parties, state visits, while his opponents scramble for their next move. So here's my question. Is the era of lawfare against Trump officially over? Or will it just never end? Let's have a conversation about it in the comments. And don't miss the next news merch shop. It is linked in the description. All right, no new super chats to speak of at the moment here. And we're going to check in on the total. Where are we at right now? Brian, make sure you put a chicken sound over that, a clucking sound. Find a chicken cluck and put it over that F-bomb I dropped. Okay? Blink twice if you can hear me. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you missed that Zoom too, so you're probably distracted. Oh, I see. Okay, so please, yeah, go back. We don't want that getting out. Anyway. All right. President Trump's going to speak in the Oval Office 25 minutes. Hopefully we can maybe bring that to you live. I don't know. But that's where we're at tonight. December 17th, 2025. 5 stories. One unmistakable pattern. The institutions that told you that they were in charge are watching their grip slip away. And hanging over all of it, the President of the United States. And the question of what he might announce in 30 minutes. Tucker Carlson reported lawmakers were briefed yesterday about coming war. Now, if that's true, we could be just hours or minutes away from a major announcement. Actually, 30 minutes. So stay alert. And in Georgia, Fani Willis walked into a Senate hearing thinking she could bluster her way through. Instead, she exploded. She repeated debunked lies about January 6th. She refused to account for millions of taxpayer dollars paid to her former lover, Nathan Wade. She told lawmakers the money spent on her failed Trump prosecution couldn't have been enough. Her own attorney called the investigation into her conduct a witch hunt. The irony is staggering. And in Washington, Jack Smith sat for a closed-door testimony about his $44 million operation against President Trump. Armed raids, gag orders, allegations of probable cause that never existed. The American people paid for it all, and they weren't allowed to watch him answer for it. That's fine. We'll get the cliff notes. But the best part is he did not get the grandstand. And the reckoning has officially begun. At the Pentagon, investigators are closing in on Senator Mark Kelly after he told American troops with the Seditious Six to defy their commander-in-chief. The Democrat NGO running billboards urging soldiers to disobey orders. Veterans are calling it sedition. Kelly laughing it off. But the Uniform Code of Military Justice is not a joke or a suggestion, and neither is the investigation. And over in Minnesota, Ilhan Omar got caught fabricating a story about her son being stopped by ICE. The Department of Homeland Security says it never happened. They called her accusation shameful. Meanwhile, Governor Tim Walz faces federal demands to resign over massive fraud. State lawmakers are running resistance networks, and I guess, Minnesota's not just failing, it's in open rebellion. At the White House, President Trump just won another battle. A federal judge refused to halt construction on the privately funded ballroom. The National Trust for Historic Preservation tried to stop it, and they failed. The lawfare playbook is officially bankrupt. So on this day in 1777, France looked at the American Revolution and made a decision. The victory at Saratoga proved the colonists were not going away. The old order could not ignore reality anymore. France recognized the United States as an independent nation, not because diplomats asked nicely, but because the facts on the ground became undeniable. 248 years later, that same reckoning is here. The prosecutors, the special counsels, the activist senators, all the lying congressmen, congresswomen, they thought they could bury the truth, but they failed. Tell your friends about the show. Hit the merch shop. And to everybody who sent in super chats tonight, Northlander, Robert, and Ruby, all you guys, thank you. You keep independent media alive. I'm Gary Franchi. This has been the Raw Feed. We'll see you on the next one. Have a blessed evening.